This is our final lesson in this part of the course. We're going to create this bracket. You might think that this bracket is quite complex, but if we break it down into simple three-dimensional shapes, I think we'll find it reasonably easy. There are my sizes. It's 150 millimeters high, 6 inches high, and it's 4 inches across, or 100 millimeters. Let's go back to model space. This is my layout, of course. Now let's go back to model space and we'll have a look at our object. There's my object. And I'm just going to show you something that I think is really quite important, and that is when you're zoomed out on something and you want to zoom in to see the entire thing, we can type in zoom down the bottom. I'm just going to go down here, I'm going to type in zoom, and you'll notice that there's a series of options: zoom all, zoom dynamic. Zoom extents will zoom you to all the objects in the file, which is really handy, and in case you've lost something, it's a great way of getting back to it. So this is my object, and now I'm going to delete it, and we'll start from the beginning. So let's just delete that object. So select it, hit the delete key, and let's start again. So we know that we can start with a rectangle. I'm going to draw it vertically. So I know that this distance is 100 millimeters, or 4 inches, and this distance is 10 millimeters, or 3/8 of an inch. I can extrude that, but before I do that, how about we draw the circles that we need? So let's choose our circle tool. I'd really like to create or change this to diameter. So I can specify the circle point if I want. Needs to be just off the center here, and we need to make it 40 millimeters. So I need to move 20 millimeters away from that point. It's probably easier just to draw the circle to start with, 20 millimeters. So now that I've got my circle in place, I can just move it. So type in move, click on the object, enter, my start point is there, my finish point is there, and that's got my circle where I want it. So let's try using the offset tool. Here's my offset tool just here, offset tool, and it tells you down the bottom, specify the offset distance or 2 millimeters. So I got 2 millimeters here. We can click and we can come in. I want the offset to be 2 millimeters. That's cool. Now we select the object to offset, this one here, and we move either inside or outside, click again, and I've got my 2 circles that I need. I just need to move these circles. I've just realized I need to cut this portion here out, but actually my 3D model will do that for me. So now let's start to extrude. We're going to extrude, so escape key, EXT, there's extrude there. We're going to extrude this object, and that object. Enter. How high do we want to go? 6 inches or 150 millimeters. And there we are. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to add these two together, these two objects. I want to add those together and then subtract that middle one. Now in order to add them together, there's a command called Boolean. So let's go B-O-O-L, Boolean, and it's a union, it joins them together. So I select that object and enter. Then they're joined together into one single object, and now I can do my subtract. That's my object to keep. This is the object to subtract away from it. Enter, and there it is. I've actually punched a hole right through the middle there. The next thing I want to do is to round or fillet the edges. Now there is a fillet edge, F-I-L, and it's this one here, not that top one, it's this fillet edge. I need to put in a radius, so here let's put in a radius of 12 millimeters. And then I want to fillet that edge, this edge here, this edge through here, and then enter, and it's filleted those for me. Now enter again, and it's finished. So that's my object. I just need to put some holes in here. I need to put some holes. So I want to put a circle in. Let's see if I can put in a circle. I need to put it in the right location, which is just this point here. You'll notice when I go to there, it actually locates that point. Click, and you'll notice that it didn't actually give me the face of this object. Maybe what I need to do is to draw a line. I might find I can draw a line from here down to there. So from there up to there, that might work with a line. And then put a circle on that face. So I need to find that face, snap to that point, and this wants to be a 6 millimeter circle or 1/4 of an inch. enter. We're going to extrude that, and just escape, extrude. There's my extrude. So this one here, enter. I want to pull that through. I quite often just turn my view at this point so I get my extrusions just go through a little bit, but not too far. Now let's look at a back view. I want to look at the back. I want to mirror if I can. So my mirror tool, this is my object to mirror, enter. First point on my mirror plane wants to be the top center there, center. Come down here to the center, click, and enter. Now let's enter again because I want to copy that object and that object. I need to find, let's go enter, a 3D midpoint. Where did it go? I just saw the 3D midpoint. And I'm just looking for the midpoint. Oh, there's a 3D midpoint there. Let's come across that way, enter, and I should have all of my objects. I haven't finished with the mirror yet, so don't forget, finish by hitting the enter key. Now we can subtract. So that's my source, enter, that object, that object, that one, and that one. Just be careful you're getting the right one. What happened last time was I ended up selecting the overall object. So let's try subtract again. Enter. And just be really careful when you select these little cylinders here that you don't accidentally select the overall object. You can see it can be quite difficult sometimes to make sure you get the right one. Just as soon as I move my mouse, sometimes it selects the wrong one. Enter, and it's punched the hole for me. Now it appears that I've got two objects in here, so I'll just see if I've got an extra one just in here. Delete. I think I must have made a mistake when I did my mirror. Looks like I've ended up with an extra line in there as well. I was trying to draw lines and it didn't work for me, and now I see why. Okay, so I've ended up with my object. Now it's a question of making my viewports or my sheet layer. Let's go to my paper space, to my layout. Here it all is here, so I'm going to select all of that and delete it, and let's start again. We need a base object from model space. And so that's my front view. Click, enter. Let's go up here. This is my plan view. Click. Let's go across to my side view. Click. And my isometric view. Click and enter. And now it's finished. And now it's just a question of dimensioning. So let's get to my linear dimension tool. So let's click there, there, and click there. Enter. So at my top corner, bottom, click. And we're going to enter again, click, click. I'm going to put that down here. It's going to be a pain because of my labels. And the other thing I need is some radial dimensions. So we have some radial dimensions here. So a radius dimension. Click on that one. That'll give me my radius for that particular one. Click and enter again. Click on the outside one. And there's my radii. Put in the text and your drawing's done. So if you've forgotten how to do text, I'll just quickly go through that. This is my text tool in here. So we put text in. This is my plan. Now my text is too large. So I'm just going to select that text. Back up to here, the text height. 0.7 I think is about right. Maybe that's too big. 0.4. 0.3. There we are. That's better. And then I can copy and paste that. So Control C. Or there's another one which is to drag a copy. So here we've got the copy. We specify the base point. Let's try the copy. Here's the copy. We select the objects. Click. Enter. Specify a base point. Click. Where do we want that to go to? Hold down the shift key. Click. And we can put one over here as well. Click. And escape. So this still says plan, double click, and this is going to be my front elevation. And click over here, double click, this is my right elevation. And click away. So there's my drawing. So let's just go back to our model space. So this is the end of the lessons. In this lesson we learned how to use Boolean to add things together, and then we reused the subtract to subtract things, and we found it was quick to create the model and then create the drawings from that. We also used linear dimensions, we used angular dimensions, and if we select all of those dimensions we can change the tolerance. We can also change, where's the precision? Tolerances. So first of all I want to change the precision, make that 0.1. We want to add our tolerance display symmetrical, our tolerance upper limit 0.1, tolerance precision 0.1, and I usually change this text height here 0.7, so it's smaller, so it's easy to see the difference between the dimension and the tolerance. And so there's your drawing ready to go.